Hey guys, long time no vlog. I'm just crossed into New Mexico, the world's dirtiest Man, I gotta give this thing a bath, man. It's pretty dirty. This is even worse. Look at this. You tell you're going down like a dirt road all the time. Yeah, I gotta give this puppy a bath. Whew. Went through Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico. I have a few more hours to go, and then I'm gonna take a break. It's still got to go through Arizona, Nevada, and part of Utah. On my way back to Utah. This is the last hurrah of my of the mothership here. So I haven't vlogged for, I don't know, probably about a month. I think I've been honestly been going through some real difficult personal challenges, and I just didn't have it in me to vlog. I try and be really transparent and share stuff that I can share, but man, it's just been too difficult. I've been having a hard time, but I'm feeling better. I've been, like I said, on the road, and in the last month I've done 5 tournaments of all sorts: Texas Trails, KBF, Hobie, KBBT. I mean, I've been busy, and I've been accelerating my fishing skills as much as I can. So that's what's been going on here, and we'll just see how it all goes, man. But I am feeling tired. Like, my body's tired. I did like 50 miles on the water this last weekend, and I'm feeling like I've been doing pretty good in the tourneys. I've been sort of on the cusp. Like, I feel like I'm just on the breaking point of turning the corner and really having some success. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I don't know. It could be years. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna give up, and I'm just gonna keep working at it and keep showing up and having fun, and I'm gonna share it with you guys. I got a bunch of videos in the can, and I'll be getting those out to you. So anyways, that's just the update as far as what's going on. And you thought I was done, but I'm not. At the Holiday Inn here, staying in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. This is what I live out of, my OGO bag. I want to talk about something real quick. I try to be really honest about things that happen in my life. In this last month or so, I've been going through some very tough times personally. Just some things that happen, and it's been really personally devastating. And I've struggled. I feel like I've really been through the ringer for like 6 months. I'm not gonna get into details why and stuff. It's just, the whole situation is just very sad and very difficult and very hard. But what I want to talk about, try not to cry. What I want to talk about is all these struggles for me, whether it's been, the surgery that I went through and the pain that I went through, or my dad's health and that, or some other recent struggles, and they've all helped me grow spiritually, and I've been doing my best to really focus on that. And I've been really trying to pay attention to what my path is, what God has in store for me. And I don't know all that. But the reason I'm talking about it is I think it's so important pay attention to that and take the time to ask God what that is. This week, I had that tournament on Dardanelle, and there was so many things that happened this week that just couldn't be coincidence. I've been really struggling personally with some situations and praying a lot, and there's just things that have happened that have no good explanation for why I'm where I am at the time they happen. And some of them have been good, and some of them have not been good. Some of them have been really hard experiences, but for example, after Texas, I went to Arkansas to meet a friend, and because I was traveling through it and I hadn't seen her in a while, and we ended up going on a river float, and I'd never been there. It was beautiful, and there was a man there that I'd never met, and we were talking. And there were all these beautiful dogwood trees, and I just love dogwood. I always have, and I was just floating and just trying to take in the moment and look at these beautiful trees. And he told me a story about the dogwood, and sort of a biblical story about the flower of the dogwood, and that the dogwood was used on the cross, and that the flower, the red stamens represented the blood of Christ. And it was a very beautiful story, and I can't really even do it justice. But one day last week, I got off the water early, and I was driving down the back road to where our Airbnb was, and it was a very muddy, it had been raining, muddy, dirty road, and it had been freshly laid, so, and it was sort of mounded, so it was very high with really steep ditches. And I was driving, and I saw this beautiful dogwood tree, and it was going up a slope, had sort of an S curve up a slope, and the dogwood was on the bank up above, on the ledge, like cliff or whatever. And so I slowed my car around the turn to look at the dogwood, because it was just so amazingly gorgeous. And while I was sort of sitting there slowly looking at that dogwood, I saw like a hand of a woman. And so I stopped the car and got out, and down below this dogwood was this old woman who was in the ditch, and there was a walker on its side, and her mail was all strewn out, and she was just face down in the ditch, and she couldn't get up. She was crying, scared, and she said, "Everybody's been driving by and no one sees me, and no one stopped." And there, so there she was under this dogwood tree, and she had, and I know I posted about this, but it was so touching to me. She had partial paralysis, so she was weak on one side. I don't mean to cry, but it's just, it touches me so deeply. And she was weak. She couldn't stand up on her own. She couldn't crawl. She couldn't get up. And she's just, tears are running down her face. And she wasn't injured from falling. She had slipped somehow And I don't know why she was on this gravel dirt road, but she slipped and her walker went flying and she fell into this ditch with water. And yeah. So I helped her up and half carried her to the car, held on to her and got her in the car and got her walker and put it in my kayak and her mail and her Pall Mall cigarettes and found out where she lived, and she guided me to her house and I helped her get out, and she was fine. She, you know, didn't want any more help. I don't even know her name. But she kept telling me about how she wasn't gonna give up, and how she was determined to keep walking and using her walker, and it just it touched me. It reminded me a lot of myself. I just felt so blessed with this whole thing with the dogwood. Like, how I hear that story and how it resonated so much this weekend, and how by looking at it on a lonely road, I was able to help a woman in need. And how I feel so blessed to been able to help her, because I really honestly believe she would have just died of exposure. It was so cold, no one would have seen her. You had to be in that one little spot. And I mean, she could have died out there. That could be me out there. It could be anybody. And it just reiterated to me, like, how much we're instruments of God's plan. We're just instruments of God's plan. And most of the time, we don't even know it, or we don't take the time to see it. And we don't take the time to realize the impact that we have in people's lives. And I don't know where I'm rambling with this, but I just feel it's so important. You know, if you're having difficult times and you're struggling and you're not sure your path and you're not sure what to do, and you're suffering, like, suffering is a human condition. And I just really urge you to take the time and pray and try and find what that purpose is. And sometimes, you know, you listen to that inner voice and take the time to look at the freaking dogwoods, because you just never know what's gonna freaking happen. So that's what I wanted to share that with a more broader audience than just my Facebook page. I urge you to really try and open your heart and, you know, be willing to risk it and be vulnerable and live in the moment and just be yourself and be true and be authentic, and realize that, you know, God uses people as tools in many ways. And, you know, be God's tool for good. It may not always work out, but, you know, I believe that so very much. So It's not easy. Somebody said, somebody said, like, I'm living the dream. And it is true. It is true. I am living the dream. But I also gotta tell you, like, some of that is not always as easy as you think. Living those dreams is not easy. There's difficulties and there's struggles, and all I can say is just persevere. And don't be afraid to ask God, like, what the path is that you're supposed to take. Even if it's hard, you can still do it. You're not by yourself. Even if you feel like you're by yourself and no one understands you, or people think bad things about you that aren't true, you just got to be true to yourself and know that there's a greater good, and you can be part of that greater good each day. So that's what I have to share with you. It's been wild, and 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 I'm looking forward to getting back with these vlogs. And anyways, thanks for your time, and just be true to yourself. Thanks. Bye bye.